Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Thursday Nights with Cynthia and Mark. And tonight it's just Mark. Cynthia is still recovering and won't be joining us. She may join us briefly, but it's just you got me for tonight now. So excited to have you here. And I'm excited to talk about this incredible topic that we have lined up tonight. For you, the doTERRA Healing Hands. It is an amazing program. If you're not familiar with it, you're in for a treat tonight. We're gonna talk about some of the things that are going on and how you can be involved in making a difference either locally or across the world. There are some really, really exciting things happening. So let me jump in here and share this with you. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. So doTERRA Healing Hands, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, is a foundation that is supported by doTERRA that provides humanitarian aid and humanitarian projects throughout the world. It is an incredible organization, and I'll give you some of the highlights here in just a minute, but it is making a huge impact in many parts of the world, all powered by doTERRA people. And that's one of the things I love most about it, is that there's such grassroots involvement from the doTERRA world, the doTERRA community, that has this strong desire to give back. And just a real quick history on it. When the, what?
You're not on full screen.
Oh, that's just the way the slide is. When the founders of doTERRA, when they first founded doTERRA and they came up with the name doTERRA, doTERRA means gift of the earth. And the founders felt very strongly that they were actually given a gift, these gifts of these wonderful natural products that have so many powerful effects for health, that it was a gift that they were being given to share with the world, and that they felt like it was important to also give back and to continue to give and pay forward. And so Healing Hands has been an important part of what the doTERRA experience is all about for a number of years now. And many people have become involved in supporting it as well. So let me just give you a highlight here, and I'll talk about the matching projects in a minute, but over 180 matching projects have been completed thus far, 120,000 hygiene kits distributed in 70 countries. So that's just a little snippet of some of the things, the impact that the program has had. The major initiatives that are under these categories, and there are many of them going on, you can see them. I won't go through them all, but some of them are big global issues. Some of them are local, like in your own community kinds of things that you can be involved in, and that you can make contributions to or support. And so it's beginning to end, it's the kind of thing where, regardless of what your passion is and what you want to be involved in, there's a place for you to contribute and to be involved and be a part of it. So let me tell you the top 5 things that I love about Healing Hands, and this is why I can really get behind this kind of a program. I get approached a lot through work and wherever for different foundations, different people want me to donate to this and that. And these are the reasons that, in comparison, that I love about Healing Hands. and why it's great to be involved in it. The first thing is that it's driven by the wellness advocates. The grassroots support for this program is just amazing. I believe we're up to what, 10 million now that are involved, and either in donating or actually driving some of these programs themselves. And so it's not just a few people at the top thinking about, well, this is where we want to be involved and we're going to put our money there. It's actually for at least half of the projects and half of the expenditures are going through projects and things that wellness advocates themselves have created in partnership with Helping Hands. I'm sorry, with Healing Hands, and created these wonderful impacts around the globe. Number two is the wide variety of needs met. And again, as you saw in that list early on, there are so many different ways and so many different places to be involved. It's not just a single focus, but it's a wide variety of things that you can be involved in. Third is that it's both local and worldwide. And this is something that's really cool to me. Sometimes we think about, well, if it's really going to be effective, then it's got to be providing drinking water in third world countries, which is one of the projects that that Healing Hands is involved in. But it can also be something as local as helping a local food bank in your community, or helping displaced refugees who are now living in your community, helping them get situated and learn the language and find employment and all of those things that they need help with. It can be that local, or it can be something that's bigger and broader. And so I love the fact that you can be involved, we can be involved at any level that we're comfortable with. The fourth one is, and this is huge, if you've been involved at all with any kind of humanitarian work, you know, and I know that there's always overhead, right? These things don't just run themselves. And so the charitable organizations of necessity have to take a percentage for the overhead of the organization. And some are very good at it and very frugal and can keep those percentages small. Some of them take quite a large percentage. And so less of the donations actually make it to the people that are being helped. In this case, because of generous donations of doTERRA corporate covering the overhead of running the program, 100% of the proceeds that are donated get to the end of where that aid is needed. That is, to me, so heartwarming and so wonderful to know that whatever we donate makes it all the way to the people who are most in need. And the last thing that I really like about this is that small donations by many of us are making a huge impact. It's not like you need to come up with thousands of dollars to make an impact, but there are ways of donating, and we'll talk about that in just a second, and being involved that make a continuing and ongoing impact in major ways when we all come together with it. So those are the things I love about it. If anybody asks why I support and why I'm an advocate for Healing Hands, these are my top things that really drive it for me. So how can we be involved? How can you be involved? If you're not involved and you're interested and would like to get more involved, here are some things you can do. First thing is, on an ongoing basis, every time we purchase products through doTERRA, there is an option that says, would you care to donate to Healing Hands? I think the default is $1. but you can donate as much as you like. And so for just a very small amount that you add to your purchase, if each of us donated $1 a month or $1 with each purchase, that makes a huge impact. And that's what is happening day in and day out, because so many people are generously participating and giving. So if you haven't taken that opportunity yet, look for that little checkbox, and you can also be involved in making those donations. There are also special product purchases. The Rose hand lotion and the Hope oil are special purchases that come up at the end of the year. And those 100% of the proceeds of those purchases go toward supporting Healing Hands. And so that's another way that you can be involved. And you know that your purchase is going for a great cause, but those are fantastic products as well. Tremendous supportive properties that they have, and benefits that we benefit from as well. Third way that you can be involved is to participate in some of these projects. You saw in one of the earlier slides that the hygiene kits, the emergency kits, have been distributed to thousands of people worldwide, hundreds of thousands. And so there's an opportunity to participate in that type of a project, maybe putting those kits together or being involved in the distribution, or those kinds of projects. You can go to the Healing Hands site and you can get connected and find out how you can be involved in these projects. And you'll see there a listing and a way to connect, either locally, or if you want to be involved in some of the bigger, more worldwide kinds of projects, you can get connected there. And so again, there are just so many options. If you want to think big and act big, there's that option. Or if you want to just keep it local and work in your own community, you can have that option too. And if you want to just give of your means and help in that way, then there's that option as well. So there are many ways to be involved. Here's one that I really love. And I talked earlier on about how this is kind of a grassroots, a ground up, the doTERRA family, if you will, really driving a lot of this. And here's an opportunity. There are many of the doTERRA teams throughout the world who have come together and said, you know what, we are, as a team, we are just passionate about women's issues, about children, about refugees, about clean drinking water, about whatever it is that they're passionate about. And they put together a program that it has to be buttoned up. It has to be really well thought out and planned out. A lot of times these groups will also partner with a local or international aid organization to bring some of the pieces together. But they put together the plan, and then they work with the Healing Hands Foundation through what they call a match program. And the match program will match whatever that group has raised in donations to make this project a reality. And it's really exciting to see the passion and the excitement that some of these groups have created in driving their own programs and seeing the results that they can achieve for things that they are really passionate about. So there's an option if you or your team are really passionate about something and want to drive it. That's an option with some funding behind it as a possibility for you. The last thing here is that we can encourage others to be involved. We can encourage others when they make purchases or purchase products that are going to directly benefit Healing Hands. that's something that they can feel good about as well, or that we can point them to ways of being involved in some of the projects that I talked about earlier. So that's just a really quick overview, if you will, of the program and ways that we can be involved, but really encourage you to check it out and be involved in the way that suits you best. And if you've been thinking, well, I really would like to do some kind of humanitarian something, but I'm not quite sure where to start or how to get involved, or do I trust donating to this organization? What's going to actually happen to my money? Is it going to make it to where it needs to go? You can rest assured that by being involved in Healing Hands in any of these ways, your effort and your donations are going to have a major impact and really help people with meetings, tremendous needs around the globe. Let me just highlight one thing that struck me as I was looking through some of the projects recently. We hear a lot about the refugees and getting them out of those countries that are where there's so much stress and so much danger. And it's fantastic what's happening as far as how people are being rescued and being evacuated and being extracted from those very, very dangerous situations and then resettled. But a big part of the challenge is then what happens when they get to the new host country. And there's a tremendous amount of effort that it needs to be in place, not only for just getting them settled, taking care of their day-to-day needs, finding them jobs, helping them with language and that kind of thing, but also all of the emotional stress and all of the trauma that they have been through, and helping them work through those issues is a big part of that whole thing. And so I was really excited to see a group that has taken on that challenge of helping people when they land in their new country, helping them to have all of those resources surrounding them that they need to be successful in making that transition. So that's a big kind of a quick overview of the program and how it can be involved, how we can be involved and really feel good about what we're doing. So I'm going to stop this presentation now. I think I am. Let's see. There we go. And we're going to thank our Facebook friends for tuning in today. If you are not familiar with Healing Hands, get on the internet and take a look at the Healing Hands Foundation. Look at those ways that you can be involved. If you're involved with doTERRA now, look at opportunities for maybe doing something as a team and filling a need that you are aware of, either locally or elsewhere, where you can have that kind of an impact. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Okay. There they are. Cynthia, would you like to add anything, any thoughts about Healing Hands that you're aware of that I may have overlooked?
One thing that really struck me from the beginning, and I really didn't understand Healing Hands initially, was early on, I was involved with a group. Actually, it was one of my people that I team with, and they had a project that they really wanted to work with. So I saw the backside of what happens when somebody's interested in giving a project that goes to doTERRA. And so what they did was they brought the presentation together. And what I loved about it was the people working at doTERRA helped them. Didn't just set them up and say, okay, now you create something, send us all your paperwork, show us how you're going to make it happen. But instead they said, okay, these are the things that we need. And then they helped them all the way along so they could actually create the outcomes that they wanted from the group that they were working for. And that's what I loved about it. So that you don't have to be an expert in philanthropy in order to have something accepted by doTERRA projects to make it viable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it made me feel like I could actually approach doTERRA, and I have a project that I'm really hoping that could go worldwide. That is part of, actually it's part of Stacy's group, and I'm hoping now that I'm feeling better, I'm still not sure that I'm not going to cough, and that's why I'm not with the group right now. But having this individual, her name is Anastasia Najarian, and she has a worldwide program that helps with trauma. And trauma is not what I thought it was. I thought it was like somebody that really had something horrible happen to them. But actually trauma is how the brain perceives an event in our lives. And if it's traumatic enough, then it creates a new synapses pathway that actually stops brain from functioning in that area. And when you get enough of these all together, it actually affects our life in anxiety and finally in suicide. So those are a lot of things that happen as a result. So, but back to what I was going to say. So what I know now, because of what I've seen before, is I can call up the people in Healing Hands and I can say, this is the program that I'm interested in sponsoring. And they'll probably say, hey, do you have people on board with your groups of individuals that you know, and what can they do? Because they'll match dollar for dollar, which is awesome. So
awesome.
if our group brought in $10,000, they're going to match that 10,000.
Right.
If the philanthropy itself through doTERRA, if they, so the money that comes through doTERRA comes back to us double.
That's so cool. That's a really cool thought. Yeah, it's actually coming back. We're doubling the impact.
But it doesn't even have to be that. We as a group come together and brainstorm and say, hey, I just heard about this experience that's happening locally here. What could we do? And we could say, okay, let's make that a viable option and let's see if it's acceptable to doTERRA. And they go through them, and I know that they have some they have to say no to. But they try to make it something because they realize that it's something that we have passion for too.
Yes, and I really like the fact that you mentioned early on that you can go out and do a weekend service project without any strings attached, really. But if you're actually going to do a humanitarian project, there is certain infrastructure, there are regulatory, legal things that you have to be aware of and take care of. And as you said, we don't have to be experts on that because doTERRA Healing Hands can walk us through that and make sure that everything's in place and lined up, and then we can go make it happen. So.
And I early on, Stacy and I were sitting next to each other in one of the doTERRA conventions, and they were talking about next place they were going to go was build this house down in Guatemala. And we looked at each other and she said, let's go. And I hedged, and I regret that because you spent 2 years doing humanitarian work down there, and so did Stacy's husband. And so here we were in this optimum opportunity to go give back in a place that really meant a lot, and didn't take it up. And I'll never say no again. Promise that. And if there's something that is that meaningful to for us individually, then who knows what we could have done. Maybe we could have brought 30 people with us instead of just the two of us. But I wasn't thinking that big at that point. I was thinking kind of small. So I think we can also think big We can think
Yeah,
and think of inviting more people than maybe we would. Maybe we invite each of us invite 5 people, and you've got 20 people right there, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Great thoughts. Gil, what exposure and involvement have you had, if any, with Help Healing Hands?
Only donating.
Okay.
I think maybe the reason I haven't done more is it hasn't become personal to me,
Mhm.
Okay.
and I don't know how to make that happen. um, I don't know if they have videos I could watch or something that would make it a little more personal.
Yeah. On the Healing Hands website, there's quite a bit of information if you dig down a few clicks, and you can see some of the projects that are being highlighted and some of the impacts. So that might be a way of getting more connected with it. And they also have contact information there. So if you're interested in a particular project, there are links to find out more about what they're doing, and maybe if you want to be more involved, how to get involved. So
Yeah, it's very easy to just think, oh, somebody else will do it.
yeah. And a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But no, but not to minimize the impact that you're having, and the care that you're giving with that donation, that adds up. And each of those donations that you make on a consistent basis goes toward helping somebody somewhere that otherwise wouldn't be helped. So
Yeah, at convention, I don't know if it was this convention or one of the previous ones, but they were talking about Healing Hands, and they said if everyone just did $1 per order, the amount of money was staggering. I
oh
could
yeah,
not believe it, how
Mhm.
many orders they process a month.
yeah, it's a crazy number. So maybe part of what we can do is to spread that word, is like, hey, you're making a purchase anyway, just add $1 on, and look at the good it can do.
Yeah,
That's
nobody's going to miss $1.
not at all. Very true.
Mhm. I mean, most
Stacy, do you
people
have
spend,
any? Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
I was just gonna say, most people spend more than that on a movie
Yeah,
once a week.
for sure. Stacy, any thoughts on this topic?
I had difficulty logging in, so I missed
Oh,
much of the presentation, but kind of getting the gist of what you're talking about here at the end of it. But no, I love the idea of Healing Hands. Gosh, getting emotional just thinking about it. Every time I go to convention and I listen to and watch the videos of Emily Wright and the other executives in doTERRA and what they're doing to develop independence and an ability to provide for their own families in these people who are indigenous to the countries where these oils come from, it just strikes at my heartstrings, because I think, I had an opportunity to go to Haiti several years ago and was able to see the poverty firsthand in that country. And I know many of these countries, are perhaps maybe not as impoverished as Haiti, but not as wealthy as we are accustomed to. And so they have so much need. And I think with the great company of doTERRA, their willingness to not only help people worldwide with the oils that they're offering, but to be able to help those in those countries who are providing those oils is a huge blessing. And I've always loved the idea of humanitarian work, and I'm a nurse, and I would love to be able to go and do humanitarian nursing work. I would love to be able to, I don't know. I just, every time I see those videos of Emily Wright going to these countries, I'm like, I want to be right there with her. I want to go. How can I do her job? How can I be an assistant to Emily or something? I want to do that with her. I think that just sounds so amazing. So I don't know. I don't know what's in my future, but it just would be so fun to be a part of that. I think so rewarding, being able to bless others' lives. We've been given so much, and that's the least we can do in return, I think.
We sure have. Really amazing. You mentioned Haiti. I noticed on the when I was looking at the Healing Hands site today, the one of the featured projects was in Haiti for birthing centers for mothers, and apparently Haiti has the highest infant death rate for for childbirth death in the world. I think it said like 25%, something like that. I mean, just through the roof.
Staggering.
Yeah. So because they just have no facilities, and so they're building. It's not even a hospital. It's just like a clean a clean place where they can go and have a midwife help them with the birth in a safe way. So even something like that is pretty cool to see the impact that it can have.
Wow.
Well, we're all very blessed. We have the holidays coming up, and we have a thankful holiday coming up. So this is a good time to think about ways that we can maybe give back and be involved in sharing the great wealth and blessings that we've all been given. I am so honored to be in this business with you people. I just feel so grateful for your good hearts and the good work that you do, the great care and the passion that you have for blessing people's lives with health and with support. And I just want you to know how much that means to me personally, and it means to Cynthia and me. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we will reconvene next week. Everybody have a great week. And again, if anybody's on listening and you want to have more information about how to be involved with us and with our team, please go to eodrops.com and contact us, and we'd be happy to have that conversation with you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.